Welcome to the audio version of Conjured BTS, a BTS fanfiction by Zmelio. Episode 11, Yoongi's Purpose. The next morning, Guy was checking out of the hotel. Yoongi was well rested and decided to make a game of trying to get Guy to smile or laugh, saying, "This is how you sounded last night, dude." Then he would squawk and wail terribly while dancing with no rhythm. Finally, standing in the vestibule after checkout, Guy rang out with hearty laughter. Yoongi closed his eyes and continued to rock as if music was playing. Overlooking the scene, the concierge decided to put an end to Guy's strange behavior. "Excuse me," he interjected. "If you have checked out, then perhaps you should exit the building." Guy thought to himself, "He doesn't see Yoongi, and he thinks I'm insane. But for the first time, I don't care." He continued laughing at Yoongi. His laugh was interpreted by the hotel employee as defiance, and he stated more sternly, "Sir, I must ask you to leave." Guy put his palms up in submission. All right, I'm going," he shouts at Yoongi. "Hey, Yoongi, stop bopping." Yoongi stopped and looked at him between them and realized what was happening. "Let's go." The concierge became indignant. "Sir, I am not Yoongi." "Sorry," Yoongi murmured to Guy. "You need to leave now," the employee insisted. Yoongi walked out while Guy bowed defensively. "Oh, it's okay, I'm leaving." They walked silently to a subway station that would take them back to the bridge. Yoongi was assuming that Guy was embarrassed, but that wasn't the problem for Guy. The problem was that he didn't know how he was going to return to his lonely, empty life. The subway platform wasn't so busy. Yoongi stepped up behind Guy and put his hand on his shoulder and apologized. "Guy, I am sorry about back there, if I embarrassed you or got you into trouble." Guy smiled painfully. "Honestly, Yoongi, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I'm so happy this weekend. I used to have a good friend. You know, the one I mentioned before? It used to be like this when we were together. We were crazy, and we didn't care what anyone thought." Guy shook his head at the memories. "My brother was always mad at me. We were so annoying to him. But my friend's gone now, almost 2 years, and I haven't been happy since. He was the one who got me into BTS in the first place, and he loved you so much. Like, I thought you were cool, but Hojun?" Guy sighed. Yoongi was glad the topic raised itself again. He was sure this was the answer to his dream, his own memories that he was supposed to process. He prompted Guy to continue by asking, "And that's why you summoned me?" "I'm so sorry, Guy." "You think this is what I'm here for, to help you move on?" "Help me move on." Guy tried to process that idea when his phone rang. He answered, "Hello?" Kevin was on the other line. He jumped in with accusations. "Guy, why aren't you coming to the door? I've been pounding on it. Why aren't you answering? Your neighbors are yelling at me." Guy frowned. "I'm not there, Kevin. I told you I'm out." Kevin shouted loud enough for Yoongi to hear. "That was yesterday. Did you not come home? Tell me where you are and I'll come get you." Guy barked back, "I'm fine, Kevin. I'm not a child." Kevin ignored Guy's defense. "You aren't doing anything stupid, are you? You aren't getting into drugs? Mom is always worried about it. I've been telling her you won't. Don't make me a liar, Guy." "Later, Kevin. Goodbye." He hung up in exasperation. He turned to Yoongi and shrugged. "Sorry, my brother." Yoongi nodded. "Sounds like he's worried about you, even if he's going about it wrong. Is that so bad?" The two were quiet as they walked back to Guy's Brooklyn neighborhood. Yoongi tried to probe, but Guy was not responsive. He decided to be direct. "Tell me about your friend." Guy shook his head and closed his eyes, but Yoongi implored, "Please." Guy stopped walking, frowned, and relented. "His family moved here from Korea when we were in middle school. I knew a little Korean from my grandma, so we kind of hit it off right away. We were inseparable, and we were planning to move to Korea when he was killed by a gang member." Yoongi gasped slightly. He expected the situation to be more similar to his own. He expected the friends had grown apart. Guy continued, "Some kind of gang initiation I'll never understand. But just like that, he was gone, and life has never been the same. I can't seem to make any new friends. I'm just lost." Yoongi scratched his head in thought, and sadly dropped his shoulders. Guy's pain was palpable. "Why didn't you tell me?" Guy shrugged. "I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to waste the short time that I had with you." Despite the details, Yoongi was still confident that what he had to do. "I think that's why I'm here, to help you accept and move on. What do you need to do to let go of this grief?" Guy looked confused. "If I knew that, I wouldn't have called you." Yoongi suggested, "Maybe we could do something that he would have liked to do as a tribute to him and a way to say goodbye." He gave Guy the sincerest, sympathetic look he could muster. Guy was willing to try anything. He pushed his pain and thought back to the fun time that he spent with his friend. "Well, even though there is snow, it's after Easter, so the rides are open at Coney Island. It was our favorite place to go." Yoongi patted Guy on the back. "Then let's go." As the two moved through Guy's memories of Hojun, he would tell Yoongi the stories one by one. And Yoongi gave Guy his full attention, engrossed with every detail, making suggestions for them reliving each memory and honoring his friend. And the result was Guy's mood became lighter and lighter. Guy didn't even seem bothered by the stares of others anymore. Yoongi asked him about it. "People are really giving you strange looks when you talk to me or insist on an empty seat next to you on rides. Are you sure that's okay?" Guy replied brightly, without hesitation, "It's absolutely okay. Do you think next time I should tell them I'm reserving a seat for my best friend who died or an imaginary K-pop idol?" He laughed. The change in Guy's energy from where they started was amazing to Yoongi. He let himself feel a little lighter, too. He was satisfied that he was fixing the problem in the dream. He answered Guy, "The friend one seems to work better, but the confusion over the idol explanation is priceless." Guy barely heard Yoongi's answer before he ran off shouting, "Race you to the cyclone!" "Wait!" Yoongi shouted, reaching out to Guy as Guy dashed away. "What a kid!" Yoongi laughed. Nighttime fell over the park, and the two found a grassy spot to sit and talk. Guy continued reminiscing. "I remember when the Thunderbolt ride opened, soon after we were old enough to ride the big rides on our own. I didn't think it could ever feel that way again." Yoongi tried his best to give Guy a hope for the future, though he himself was having a hard time accepting how the pandemic had impacted him and his friends. "Keep moving forward, Guy. Life goes on, eventually." Guy snorted. "It's easy for you to say, with your talent and your company behind you and your friends." Guy had no idea what was coming or how much Yoongi had suffered from it. Yoongi kept that perspective and kept himself from firing back. He wasn't sure of the point of the dream, but he was certain that it wasn't wallowing in his own suffering. He told Guy, "You know, it hasn't always been easy for me. And don't discount your brother. He may not say the right thing, but he was right there at your door when you didn't answer. You can't buy that kind of love. You are going to need each other." Guy shrugged. "Maybe," he said with a sigh, then rubbed his head. "Sorry, something bad is going to happen in the future, isn't it?" Yoongi closed his eyes, processing his feelings. He finally mustered up an answer. "Bad things happen all the time, but good things happen too." Just then, Guy's phone chimed and he sighed. "Speaking of my brother." He put his phone to his ear before he could say anything. Kevin pressed him. "Guy, seriously, when are you going home?" "I will tonight, I promise." Guy knew that his time with Yoongi was ending soon. He had been thinking about what his life would look like when Yoongi was gone. A plan was forming in his mind. "I'm going to take off work tomorrow, though, so I will send you a message and explain everything." Kevin, of course, was completely unaware. "You aren't quitting your job, are you? I'm not taking you in." "Nice, Kevin," Guy retorted. "Real nice. You don't have to worry. I have plans and everything will be okay. You'll get my message tomorrow." "How about lunch together?" Kevin asked. The suggestion made Guy feel maybe Yoongi was right. He shouldn't be so hard on his brother. In a calmer tone, he replied, "We'll see. No promises." After hanging up, Guy turned to Yoongi and surrendered. I don't want this to end, but let's go home. Yoongi could feel the aching in his bones, spending the last 2 days constantly walking. So when they arrived at home and Guy went to use the restroom, Yoongi lay down on the bed. When Guy returned, Yoongi groaned back to sitting position. Guy looked at Yoongi with appreciation. You look kind of tired. Why don't you go ahead and sleep? Yoongi had to admit Guy was right. I'm pretty spent, but are you sure you're okay? Guy nodded solemnly. Yeah, I've got some thinking to do, and I want to write that message for my brother. I'm not sure how I'm going to explain this weekend to him. He looked deep in thought. We won't have a lot of time in the morning before you go. You've been really great to me. You didn't have to be. Thank you, Yoongi.